Hello and welcome to what might be, I suppose, the last Masterclass edition of Cracking the Cryptic. In 2024, we are at the final Friday of the year, 27th of December, and I'm going to have a go at the Times Cryptic crossword for you, live on screen, hopefully without too many hiccups, although I will say, let's just make sure my dictionary is up and in the right place. This puzzle is currently the snitch rating, which is the unofficial rating of the difficulty of the Times crossword, currently suggests this is the third hardest puzzle of the year. And given how late in the year we are, that is quite an accolade. In fact, we have had the three hardest puzzles of the year in the last 3 weeks, which is, and I think they've all been on Fridays, which is fantastic for me, because I absolutely love doing battle, I suppose, with these wonderful puzzles. Now, especially when they're hard. Now, I'm just trying to think about anything else I might want to mention. I will mention that over on our Patreon pages at the moment, Mark has got a couple of crossword solves you might want to have a look at. So if you're not a patron of the channel, you might want to consider it. It's just a couple of bucks a month to join us over there. But with that said and done, let's have a go. Let's get cracking. It's that one, isn't it? 29111. Did I press it? I don't know if I did. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's get cracking. Right, one across. Drop male conservative in disgrace. Okay, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to talk generically about cryptic crossword clues for those of you who are new to cryptic crosswords. Every cryptic crossword clue represents a sort of mathematical equation. And in a mathematical equation, there's always an equal sign, isn't there? And the equal sign, the fact that all these clues basically contain either a hidden or an explicit equal sign means that we can reduce this crossword, in theory at least, to a quick crossword. Every single clue in this puzzle will have a straightforward definition of the answer that goes in the space. And it's almost always at the start or the end of the clue. So if we read this clue, drop male, conservative in disgrace, it could be the word drop, so we could be looking for a 7-letter word which means drop. There won't be any words that mean drop male. That doesn't mean anything, so it's not going to be drop male. If we go to the other side of the clue, it's not going to be conservative in disgrace. There is no synonym for that, although it would be perhaps amusing to try and come up with one. It could be probably the word disgrace. So if we know that to start, we're looking for either a 7-letter word that means drop or a 7-letter word which means disgrace. Now let's say we think it's drop. What does the rest of the clue mean then? Well, the rest of the clue is wordplay that leads to the answer. Male, well, that can be an abbreviation for M. Let's deal with that as well, just while we're on the first clue. If we go to M in our dictionary, you can see here, M under the head words, M has lots of valid abbreviations. Now, only the very most well-known of these will be allowable in the straightforward Times crossword. So let's go back here. You won't see, which one of these will you really not see? Actually, maybe, it'd be unlikely to see Malta, to be honest. See if there's anything more easily more out of bounds. Let me just have a quick look. Masculine. I don't think you'd see masculine being abbreviated to M. The rest of these actually are surprisingly okay, and there's male. So this male in the clue might be M. It might be the name of a male, or it might be he or something like that, indicating somebody who is male. Conservative can be C as well. If we get, let's go and check C. Have a look there. Let's see if we can find it there. Conservative. And then disgrace. Can we think of any? Let's say M and C were involved in the clue somehow. Then they're going to be put in a 5-letter word for disgrace. Now, I immediately thought of stain for disgrace. And I don't think it works, does it? I can't. I'm just trying to play with the letters in my mind and see if I can come up with something that means drop. No, I can't think of it. So, disgrace. Short synonyms for disgrace. I don't know. Let's think about the clue the other way. Drop male conservative, and then in might be doing the duty of an equal sign. So the clue is sort of syntactically trying to say drop male conservative can be put together in some way to equal in a word that means the same as disgrace. A 7-letter word for disgrace would be stigma and things like that. I don't know. I'm not doing very well. Let's try one down. Prime Minister getting a grip on adolescent disorder. I don't know this one either. I'm intrigued by Prime Minister here. See the minister part of it? It doesn't have a capital letter. And I think in Prime Minister you wouldn't both be capitalised. So I'm wondering if we have to split this clue after the word prime. So prime, and then we need a word for a minister, getting a grip on, so holding, surrounding, a word for an adolescent disorder. Now, adolescent disorder, I quite like acne for that. So, I mean, I'm just playing with ideas here. But could we, a minister could be an MP? Macnep? No, that's not right. A minister of the church could be a priest, PR? Bishop? No, I mean, I think I've got the wrong adolescent disorder here. So that is a fool's errand. I think I'm on there. Let's try 5 across. Summit briefly, going into recess brings calm. Okay. I have got this one. Okay. So sometimes when you read clues, it's really helpful to try and have a bank of short synonyms in your mind for some of the words in the clues. So when you read this clue, do you know any short synonyms for summit? Do you know any short synonyms for recess or calm? Now, recess comes up quite often, believe it or not, in crosswords. And in church, there is a recess called an apse. So I'll just show you that. The apse is a recess in, there we go, a semicircular or polygonal recess. So I was immediately thinking recess. Now let's try and read the clue as a mathematical equation. How are we to organise the pieces to get us to the answer? Summit briefly. If you see a word like briefly, it always means shorten the word. So think of a word for summit and then shorten it very slightly by one letter. So summit shortly would be the same. It would be exactly the same. Shorten a word for summit by one letter. So if recess is apse, that's 4 of the 7 letters. Then we're looking for a 4-letter word for a summit, and we're going to shorten it slightly. And that's going into our word for a recess. You see, the clue tells you exactly what you've got to do to bring us to equal. So the equal sign here is in the form of the word brings, a word for calm. Now, what we need then is to appease. If you appease someone, you calm them down, don't you? And peak was our summit, P-E-A-K. We shortened it, so we dropped the K off, popped it inside the apse, and we've got the answer. So we're away at least. 5 down. First in series. I'm immediately thinking, think of the Greek letters alpha. That's what I'm thinking. First in series of affectations. Upset. Oh, Aesop, is it? Teller of tales? I think it must be Aesop. I don't quite know why. I can see pose is reversed in that. First in... Oh, okay. So this is quite funny. It's saying the first in a series of affectations might be pose. as opposed to pose B or pose C. So assuming that you're a model and you've got all these different poses, I mean, this is something so close to my own heart. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many times I've modelled. No, the answer is zero times. But were I a model, and if I was incredibly posy, I would be able to do pose A, pose B, all the way through to pose Z at least. And so pose A would be the first in that series, and we upset that. It's a down clue, so if we upset it, we reverse it, and that gives us Aesop. And let's try tap dancer, I'm going to guess, for this one. Oh no, observer of speech, lip reader, by Tisoc. Is it Tisoc or Tisoc? I'm never sure. It's always one of those fascinating words with these Irish vowels in them. By observer of speech by Tisoc, possibly, clinging to power in Ireland. I mean, I just think this must be lip reader, because observer of speech is such a lovely clue, because of course the clue writer wants you to think of, you're sort of in the crowd as Cicero delivers some words of wisdom to you. But a literal observer of speech, somebody who's watching the way your lips move as you speak, is a lip reader. So I'm pretty sure lip reader will be right, but I have no idea why. Possibly clinging to power. Power can be P from sort of scientific equations. In Ireland. Oh, well, Ireland can probably be IRE. No, IR. Right, I finally understood it. Right, so the Tisoc is the leader, Leader, and the leader clings to, so surrounds, power, that's this P, in IR, which will probably be the vehicle abbreviation for Ireland. Let's have a look at that. Oh, Iran. Iridium. Oh, it's also Ireland. Okay. So Ireland, there we go, and Irish. So that's how that works. So we were lucky with that one. We got the P here, and then observer of speech gave it to us. So 6 down. Idiot. Put up flyer in Bay Area. That makes me think of San Francisco, which has a beautiful bay and a beautiful song. I got the blues from my baby living by the San Francisco Bay. Ocean liner don't seem far away. Anyway, let's get that out. Why do you go on these digressions, you lunatic? 6 down. Idiot put up flyer. Put up flyer suggests a reversal of a bird or something like that in Bay Area. Bay Area question mark. I think this is going to be the name of an idiot. I'm wondering about something like pervert, but pervert doesn't really mean an idiot. Pervert in Bay Area. I don't know. That's really weird. I feel like I should be able to do better with that one. I feel like I should at least be able to understand roughly what's going on with it, and I'm not sure I do. 7 down. Publicity. If you ever see publicity in a cryptic crossword clue, remember, you're trying to think of a bank of really short synonyms, 2 and 3 letter words typically. So if you gave, what would be publicity? It would be an advert or an ad. So I'm immediately thinking ad, especially as the clue's got ad in it. Publicity, campaign, plugs, gift. Okay. Well, if you campaign in a military sense, you are at war. So I think this is going to have war in the middle of, because war is plugging, it's being inserted into, stopping, if you like, the publicity to give award, and an award is certainly a gift. 8 down. Deplore. What determines... I like the idea of this. Deplore what determines senior manager's salary. Exco or something. Exco rate. Excoriate. That is a word. Excoriate is a word. I'm wondering, I think this is going to be something like EXCO. Many big companies have an EXCO, an executive committee that sort of determines everything. Deplore what determines senior manager. It's something like that, isn't it? And I really like rate here for salary. If this was a C, this word would be odd. Fish eggs first to hatch. Oh, exec rate is what it is. Execrate is better than exco rate. So the exec rate would be what would determine a senior manager's salary, and execrate is a word I know that means to deplore. So let's go back to this one. Fish eggs first. Now, let's stop there and think about the phrase eggs first. What does that mean? In a sort of from a letter perspective, literal perspective. It's saying take the first letter of the word egg, and that's probably that E. So we're probably looking for a 4-letter word for a fish, almost certainly the name of a fish rather than to angle in the sea or something, and the whole thing will mean to hatch. And the answer is to hatch is to arise, it's to be born, it's to awaken. Fish. We need this letter, don't we? Fish. I mean, there are alternative possibilities here. It could be a 5-letter name for a fish. But that's harder to see, because then we might be looking for a 4-letter word for an egg, and the first to hatch might be the first letter of the word hatch. But that doesn't seem to fit with the fact that we've got an E here, does it? So I prefer it the other way. I think this is going to be a 4-letter word for a fish. A char is a fish, but I don't think chare means to hatch. I think it means something. Chare. I won't look at the dictionary unless I'm sort of locking in an answer. No, I'm not sure. Should we try 13 across? Staff appreciate this band appearing in fundraiser for further education. Staff appreciate this. What's that then? What does staff appreciate? See, and you can see, hopefully you can see that I'm cutting that sentence, the clue, in quite an unusual place there. Because in normal English, we just read, staff appreciate this band appearing in fundraiser for further education, and it would conjure up the image of, Radiohead appearing, at a university fundraiser or something. No. Ignore that. Ignore those thoughts that come into your head about the actual pictures that the clue conjures up in your brain. They're almost certainly not going to be helpful. And try and think about the clue just as a series of words and as an instruction. So if I cut it in an unusual place grammatically, I go, staff appreciate this, cut it. Band appearing in, well, that suggests I need a word for a band. I was thinking of ring, maybe, that would appear in a word for a fundraiser for further education, like Rag Week or something. I don't know, but I quite like the thought that staff appreciate this. Tip. Okay, maybe I need a staff appreciate this would be a tip or a rise or something like that. And then a band ring appearing in a fundraiser, and the whole thing actually means further education. But I can't think of a phrase that means further education there. So let's try 16 down. So many starting letters if we could get this. Period where one might find training difficult. I don't know, term time or something. Period where one might find training difficult. A period is also a sort of punctuation mark, like a full stop, where one might find training difficult. I don't think it is full stop. I can't see why. Let's risk 17. I hate 13-letter answers in puzzles when it's a 13-letter word. Subordinate who fails to meet binding targets. A subordinate is an underling. A subordinate who fails to meet binding targets. Fails to meet binding targets. I want this to be somebody who escapes, like Houdini is what's got in my, somebody who escapes bindings. No, I don't know. Right, we have got an L in 4 down. Oh, according to Spooner. I mean, is there any more terrifying phrase in a crossword than according to Spooner? So this is a reference to the Reverend Spooner, who in about 1910, I think, it might even have been earlier than that, was famous for spoonerisms, which is when you have a phrase and you switch the sort of first syllables of the phrase. So according to Spooner, fool could take on another role. I mean, it's really hard to even think about what this might be. I'm trying to think of a good example of a spoonerism. Let's think of the word full stop, which we thought might be the answer to this. So to spoonerize full stop would become sul fop or something like that. Stull fop. So you'd switch the opening word, sort of the opening letters around. Fool could take on another. A fool is a... Short synonyms for fool are legion, so that's not easy. I mean, I think this is going to be the name of a role. Take on another role. Take on another role. To something. I don't know. Hard. Okay. Hard financial promises. I've only read that much of the clue. Financial promises comes up a lot in various guises. It might not be described in exactly those words, but constructors love that phrase or that idea because IOU appears in so many English words, especially IOUS as an ending. So financial promises are going to be IOUs, and this word probably ends in IOUS. Introduced by political party, ignoring... Oh, hang on, there was too much going on here. Okay, so this is going to be a word that means hard. And then we're going to have financial promises, IOUS, being introduced by, so the start of this answer, the introduction to it, is going to be a political party. So we're looking for a Labour, laborious. Okay, Labour is a political party here in the UK, and if we miss out the start of the word union, unions initially from Labour, we get labor. Add the IOUS at the end, laborious. And that's something is laborious, it is hard. So let's try one down again. Oh, so my adolescent disorder being acne has been totally blown out of the water. Prime. It would have to be quite an early prime to fit here, wouldn't it? I don't think there is an early prime number that would fit the bill. Minister getting a grip on adolescent disorder. What's an adolescent disorder then? Or malady maybe. Oh, it is. Oh, I see. I'm still not used to this. So it's happened this year. The Times changed their policy about living people being referred to in wordplay or in the clues. It used to be the case that only the reigning monarch could be referenced, whereas now we've got Prime Minister, and I think this is a reference to Theresa May, who was the Prime Minister, I don't know, I would guess around, let's think, 2019, roughly. 2018, 2019 here in the UK. Certainly still very much with us. And so what's going on? We've got May getting a grip on, i.e. holding, an adolescent, which is a lad. And that gives malady, which is a disorder. So, yeah, apologies. I was not thinking along the right lines at all there. Now, look at this. Drop male. That male there, I think is this going to be this M. And then conservative in disgrace. I think it's going to be a C in a 5-letter word for disgrace. Looks like it has to begin with a vowel. Odium. Modicum. Beautiful clue. Wow. Modicum. A modicum of something is just a drop of it, isn't it? A soupçon. So we've got M for male, C for conservative. We looked at all this earlier, but I just didn't think of odium for disgrace. And then we put the C into odium at the end of M, and we get modicum. Lovely. Let's try 2 down. Gathered information about campaign from lawyer involved in act. Okay, I don't know what this is yet, but when you see a reference to an act in a cryptic crossword, remember we have to come up with this bank of short synonyms. Can you think of a short synonym for the word act? Not in terms of an act of parliament, although I guess you might think of bill, although bill and act are not quite synonymous technically, but if you do an act, you do a deed. So I would be astonished if this clue doesn't have that somehow in its construction. In act. So I think we're looking for gathered information. Why can't I just think of that? Debriefed. Is that gathering information? Debriefed? I don't know. About campaign from lawyer. A lawyer can be a DA. Oh. A lawyer could be a DA or a solicitor. Or somebody at the bar, maybe. Gathered information about campaign from lawyer. A campaign. Is a campaign from a lawyer a brief? Oh, no, okay, no. A lawyer is a brief, isn't it? That is a slang term for a lawyer. And so I think the definition is gathered information about campaign. So if somebody goes to war or does a reconnaissance mission or something, they would have to be debriefed. And I suppose campaign, a campaign, I think that's okay. It's just more information than we're used to being given in a clue. And let's have a look at 11 across. Exercise. Could this be drill? Machine that could get boring. A drill. Yeah, a drill is literally something that bores, isn't it? It is a machine that bores. So the constructor is trying to mislead us by suggesting that it is boring to be on your exercise machine, which it is. But in fact, let's just pause there and admire the skill involved in writing this clue, because one of the things that is, it's not depressing and it's not bad, but it is a feature of analysing these clues in the way that crossword solvers have to solve them, is that sometimes it's easy to just skirt on and go, oh, I've understood it, I've written the answer, let's move on. But it is worth occasionally just revisiting a clue to admire how clever the constructor has been. Exercise machine that could get boring. I mean, anyone who's been to the gym will immediately feel a sympathy with this clue and recognise the sentiment it expresses. And yet, it's been very well worded. If you cut it after exercise, an exercise is a drill. Oh, I said exercise. I did not say Alexa. I didn't. It's not the same. I still haven't turned her off. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But then to describe a drill as a machine that could get boring is absolutely correct technically, isn't it? It is a machine that could get boring. It's just not the way we would normally think of a drill being described. So I think that's very clever. Now, what's this going to be? Let's try and do it without looking at the clue. Curdled, I'm going to go for. Innate evil shown up in man behind bars. Oh, I don't think it is. I don't think I'm right. Evil shown up in man behind bars. Right. I think this is the name of a composer. A man behind bars, not being an inmate of a prison, but a man who wrote bars of music might be the man behind the bars. So is it something like Corelli? Innate is core. Something is innate to you. It's part of your essence, your core, isn't it? And then evil is ill. That's shown up. It's reversed. And that gives us Corelli. I mean, that's a gorgeous clue. Man behind bars, indeed. So what's this then? Flight attendant. No, it's not that. Staff appreciate this. Fridge. No. Band. Fringe. Oh, fringe benefit. Ah, okay. So the fact I'd had the thought that band might be ring is finally helpful, because I spotted that I could write ring there. And once you get that as a possible way of starting this clue, the answer suddenly jumps out at me anyway. So fringe benefit, I don't know why yet. Staff appreciate this, a fringe benefit. Ring appeared in fundraiser. Oh gosh, FE is being used for further education. So an FE benefit is a fundraiser for further education. So FE must be a valid abbreviation for further education. Oh, mate, yeah, it's right there. I mean, it is there. It's just that's a very unusual one. And this is going to be Moonlight, looking at so we've got Corelli, the construct, and then Moonlight as in the sonata. Now, but we're going to be able to, to take another role is to Moonlight, isn't it? If you sort of do a second job, you moonlight at it. Now, why is this something to do with Spooner? Loon might, fool could. So a fool is a loon, as in a lunatic. So a loon might is a way of saying fool could, but you Spoonerize it, so you switch the first letters around to get moonlight, which is to take another role. It's a very clever puzzle, this. Really like it. 6 down. Idiot. Put up flyer. A flyer, right. A flyer could be a tern. That is a bird, isn't it? It's a seabird. So idiot. Soppos in Bay Area. Is it? This is going to be I think it might be that. That is something. Postern. I want to say that's... I'm not sure. I think that might be the answer. But Bay Area, we've got to get way away from San Francisco for this. It's something like an area where there might be a bay window, I think. Idiot. 3-letter idiot ending in P. And I always get confused between sap and sop. I mean, a sop is a bribe, but I think it has another meaning that might be. But it's a problem, this, because I can't be sure about this letter. Let's see if we can justify S. Oh, shade. Shad. Is a shad a fish? I don't know. Skate is a fish. Eggs first to hatch. Fish. Ooh. There is a shad. A shad is a fish, but shade. Why is shade hatch? You hatch a plan. Oh, I'm not sure now. Bay Area then. Idiot. I'm not sure. This is a problem. This is a worry. Okay, I think we'll let my subconscious have a think about that while we go elsewhere. So graduate. If you see graduate, it's almost always BA or MA. Admitting agitated state, talked nonsense, blarneyed or something. Agitated state, talked nonsense. See, brouhaha, no. Graduate, could it be a BD? That's like a Bachelor of Education or something. That could be a graduate. Blathered. Yeah, that's right. So blathered. So it's BED. So when I say graduate, it's always BA or MA. It's not here. It's BED. Let's have a look at that. I think it's a Bachelor of Education. It's very much the junior partner in what's likely to be used as an abbreviation for graduate in a cryptic crossword. But there it is. And that's admitted lather. If you're in a lather, you're in an agitated state, or in a lather. And then talk nonsense, blathered. So let's try 15 down. Home runs must be set up in subsequent fixtures. Home runs. Okay, I don't know what this is, but let me distill some elements for you. Home, when you see that in a cryptic crossword, is almost always in. Because if you're at home, you're in. So in, I'm expecting to be somewhere in this clue. Runs, if you're familiar with cricket and cricket scoring, which is something, believe it or not, you do have to have a familiarity with. R is an abbreviation for runs. So INR must be set up, okay, so that gives RNI, in subsequent fixtures. So something like fittings or something. I don't know. But I think this is going to... furniture. Future. Subsequent. That's like suddenly became easy. Furniture. So INR. So it's interesting because I was so confident that home would be in and R would be runs that I thought it likely this clue had RNI in it somewhere. And once you start playing around with that, it doesn't become, it's not beyond the wit of man, or at least this man, to figure out the answer. Fixtures being furniture, and subsequent is future, obviously. Now, we did look at that, but we didn't. Oh, under something. A subordinate is an under who fails to meet binding targets. Under somebody who doesn't tie things up enough would be somebody under attacher. No, that isn't a word, is it? And I mean, just let me put that in because I just find it funny. And imagine there was a word under attacher. Somebody who fails to meet binding targets would absolutely be an under-attacher. I don't think there is a word like that, though. So we'll delete it. Go away. Naughty answer. And let's try instead. Should we use the H from this one? Yeah, let's have a look at this. Key figure in report of Nessie, apparently. As a reference to the Loch Ness Monster. So... figure in report of Nessie, apparently. So, from a technical perspective, the tricky part of this clue is that in report of. And this phrase does the same duty as we hear, or by the sounds of it, or one caught, all of which can refer to you hearing something. And if you hear something in a cryptic crossword clue, the clue writers love to say, love to pun on homophones. So, report of Nessie apparently is going to be something like beast lock or something, and then we're going to have to think of a different way of spelling that. Key figure. A key figure is a... I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Loch Ness monster. So Nessie. I really like lock as the last bit. Locksmith. Key figure. A key figure would be a locksmith, somebody who makes keys. Key. I don't know, I quite like locksmith as an answer. And obviously that's punning on the difference in spelling between lock and lock, which sound exactly the same, but they obviously have different spellings and very different meanings. I think that might be locksmith, but I'm not certain. If it was, that would be a C. Pious platitudes on love in some poet's work. Pious platitudes on love in some poet's work. Pious platitudes are flim-flam. They are... Oh, okay, it's canto, isn't it? Cant is what they are as well. So flim-flam, cant. Why does my brain go to flim-flam, which is patently not... It's not less than 5 letters or even 5 letters. But cant, I think, is a word for pious platitudes. That goes on top of O. Now, O is love. And this comes up quite a lot in puzzles. And I think it's because if you look up O in the dictionary, it will define itself as nothing or anything round as well is another thing. Let's just have a look. Yeah, naught or nothing, which is the same as if you have a love score in tennis, you obviously have no score, so you have nothing. So that O here is nothing. And some poets' work, canto, I think in the work of Dante, for example, you will find it split into cantos. So that does seem to support locksmith, doesn't it? And I think that's just punning on this LOCH thing. Oh no, that's better. It's better than that. A locks. It's the myth of a... I need to show you. This is what it's punning on. It's a better clue than I thought. Locksmith. Now, the Loch Ness monster, Nessie, as we know her colloquially, is a myth of a loch, the Loch Ness. So locksmith sounds exactly the same as locksmith, which is a key figure. Isn't that beautiful? It's really good. My opinion about this clue has really gone up. Now we get an I at the start of 23 down. University dons involved with part that's used in program. Okay, I don't know what this is, but I have an idea about how it might work. University can be abbreviated to U. And I love the idea that dons here might not be referring to a professor being a university don. It might be saying that an abbreviation for the word university, U, has to wear. If you don something, you put it on, don't you? So could U be in the answer here? And university is donning a 4-letter word, which means involved with or involved with part. Into. Involved with. In on. Part that's used in program. Oh, I'm close to this one. I just haven't quite thought of the word. In. Part that's used in program. Input? Yeah, involved with. An input is used in a program. I quite like that. So I think actually the way this breaks down is you is donning, so it's wearing. A word for involved with, that's in. PT is an abbreviation for part. I've seen that before. So if we go and have a look at that. Part. There it is. And something that's used in a program, a computer program, is an input. So I think that's how that works. Now that gives us a chance at 26 across. Harry essentially, well, okay, let's stop there. And again, it's very easy when you see Harry essentially to think of somebody you know called Harry, or a famous person. Think of Prince Harry, and you're sort of thinking, oh, what's this about? Forget all that. Think about it purely in terms of the letters. Harry essentially is saying to take the essence, the heart of the word Harry. Now I think that might be ARR. So I'm quite keen. It could just be the R, or it could be ARR, but I like the idea that it might be ARR. Severed connection. Oh, actually, hang on. Essentially severed connections with English. Okay, I don't know. I've changed my mind completely. I've changed my mind completely because of this phrase with English at the end of this clue. E is a valid abbreviation for English. So I'm actually now thinking this might be a 9-letter word for harry, as in the verb to harry, to badger, to nag. Essentially severed connections. Harry essentially severed connections with English. I tell you another thing that's occurring to me as we pause for a moment here, because my brain doesn't know anything about this one. And that's that many people, when you first start to do a cryptic crossword, you think of them as involving lots of anagrams, don't you? How many anagrams have we had in this puzzle to this point? I think the answer is 0. I don't think we've even had a partial anagram, which is very cool, isn't it? So, 28 across, let's have a look at that. Extremely stubborn, donkeyish, Democrat snubbed public support. Extremely stubborn, you're dead set on something, you are completely driven. Democrat snubbed public support. I don't know what that is. Let's try that one. Abdicate, resign, wanting son. Son can be abbreviated to S. So if we think of the word resign, and that word wants for its S, so it lacks its S, then you get the word reign, and that's to be king, question mark, isn't it? If you're the king, you do reign. So that's easier. But again, if we revisit the clue and read it, it's rather beautifully phrased. Abdicate, wanting son to be king. That's exactly what somebody who was in that position might do if they wanted their son to be the king. 20 down. Take in group from failing establishment. Take in. Ingest. Yeah, okay, so there's normally one of these in every Times puzzle. I don't think there was one last week, but these are the ones that when you first start to do cryptic crosswords, you inevitably find yourself looking for. And it's a clue answer that's actually written in the clue itself in order. So all you have to do is scan the clues, and sometimes they're backwards, but the clue constructor always has to tell you the direction you're meant to be looking. And if we cut this after the phrase take in, so take in, we're looking for a 6-letter word which means take in, and we need a group of letters. That's what that means, group from failing establishment. Now if you look in the middle of the words failing and establishment, you'll see spelt out INGEST. And to ingest, if you ingest food, you take it in, don't you? So that's going to be right. That confirms the E at the end of this one. Harry, if If you harry, you pester. Severed connections. Oh, with English. Gosh, I don't know what that is. And this one was the extremely stubborn. Hellbent. No. Democrats snubbed public support. And then this one, I haven't looked at this one. Parvenu would be a new arrival. That's got to be right somehow, hasn't it? Standard is par. Approach exposed. What's that? An approach exposed vulgar. What's going on? Standard approach exposed vulgar new arrival. A new arrival is a parvenu, literally somebody who's just arrived. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure I can justify it, though. Approach exposed vulgar. New arrival. Why can't I see why this is parvenu? I think it is parvenu. I just can't see why. Approach. If you approach, you near, don't you? You... Exposed vulgar. I don't know. I'm so sorry. That is appalling. That is absolutely appalling. I mean, let's see if we can justify this P. Oh no, this was my idea of under-attacher. Under-strainer would... fails to meet binding targets. If that was a P, let's just put P in there. Understrapper. Oh, you pull people up by their bootstraps. Is an understrapper? That could be a phrase. I've never heard it. Oh, good. I really hope this isn't full stop, because I even thought of that. What? Why? Period? Hang on. Let's put understrapper in. And let's see if we can justify 18 down. Group of potential soldiers in detachment. A regiment of potential soldiers in detachment. I don't know, actually. And why is that? If that was full stop, that would be a T. Several men who serve. General purpose. The general purpose of something is what? It's telos or something. Several men who serve. That sounds like it's a group of army people, like a regiment or a platoon or something. People who serve, literally, people who serve in the military. General purpose is going to be tenor? Could it be there's a tenor of something? I wonder if several could be 10. OR for other ranks. There are lots of abbreviations for army regiments and things like that. OR is one of them. And the general tenor of something, would that be its purpose? And then this could be reserve. Detachment is reserve. Yeah, a group of potential soldiers. So the reserve forces in any military are the people who might be called up but generally aren't aren't called up all the time. And if you show reserve, you are in a state of detachment. So reserve is right. I'm not sure about tenor. It might be right, especially if this is full stop. Let's have a look at this one. Leader of Parliament. I mean, again, forget when it says Leader of Parliament, it's not, don't think about the Houses of Parliament. Think about the leading letter of the word Parliament. Well, that's P. Set about stopping corruption. Rot can be corruption. And dissent. Set about. Protest is the answer to that. That's the first partial anagram. Set about is saying move about the letters of the word set. That's S-E-T here. And that stops, it corks, it's inside a word for corruption, which is rot. So we get P, rot around an anagram of set to give protest. And if you protest something, you dissent. And this is full stop, and that is absolutely shocking, because I have no idea. Period, where one might find training difficult. Oh, there's something clever going on here. I don't know what it is. Where one might find training. What? Difficult. Wow. Period. I mean, what? Where one might find training. See, I have a feeling this is a brilliancy and I'm not understanding it. Oh, that's really bad of me. Where one might find training. Where might you find training? In a school? In a... I don't know, in a drill yard or something, where one might find training. Difficult. Full stop. If you're in a state of a full stop, is that some sort of technical term in sort of strike language, like unionization? If you're at a state of a full stop, maybe it's a military term even. So a state of full stop is just that you're not doing anything. You're just sitting around, as opposed to I think it might be that. Okay, so I'm definitely putting full stop, because full stop is a period. It's a a punctuation mark. But I think full stop might have a meaning that's different. Okay, so there it's defined as a point marking the end of a sentence, but also as a halt. It's not brilliant, is it? I would prefer if it had said maybe full stop with a hyphen means something different. Let's have a look at that. No, I don't think it does. I'm not sure then. I'm not sure. I think we're just going to have to... There must be some, I think, meaning from labour law. Maybe teachers might go on a full stop or something, which means that they stop doing any teaching. I don't know. That's my best guess as to what's happening there. Now, under strapper, I'm not changing because that seems to fit with all this nonsense. Let's have a look at under... Oh, is it? No, it is there. Under strapper, an inferior agent or an underling, literally a subordinate then. So, and somebody who straps, it doesn't do enough strapping, would be defined as not doing enough binding or not failing to meet binding targets, whatever it was. That's very clever. You can see why this puzzle's been rated difficult, though. It's definitely got some tricky pieces. And what's more, we have not understood what is going on at the bottom of the grid at all. And I've still got this little conundrum at the top too. So let's go back here. Extremely stubborn. I am very... I don't know, Democrat can be D. That will surprise nobody. So is that first D that we've got in the answer? Snubbed public support. See, Democrats snubbing public support makes me think more that we have to remove a D from a phrase which means public support. If you show public support for something, I'm not sure. Blathered is right, I'm sure about that. Okay, let's go back to the Harry clue. Harry essentially severed connections with English. Harry. Prosecute or persecute, maybe. If you persecute somebody, you would harass them. Essentially severed connection. Oh, cut. Severed connections. Per se. Essentially. Oh, gosh, that's difficult. Okay, it's very difficult if you're not used to Latin, but per se would be essentially. So it's... Let me show you per se. There, they're literally essentially in itself. So essentially per se, severed connections with cut, English E, persecute Harry. Now 19 down. Oh, parvenu. Parvenu still works. A standard approach. Exposed. Vulgar new arrival. I suppose vulgar. A new arrival would be a parvenu, but maybe a vulgar new arrival is also a parvenu. It's like somebody who's an upstart. There is a sort of vulgar quality to that. So if that's right, then I only have to justify approach exposed. Avenue? Is that an approach? Yeah, probably. I think an avenue might... I mean, it's obviously a type of road, but maybe it can also be a specific approach to something. You go up an avenue of trees or something as in the approach to your manor. If that's true, then if you expose the word avenue, you would unclothe it. You would take its first and last letter away. You know, think of it as a tree or removing the bark from or something. So I'm going to say parvenu is correct. I'm going to look up avenue. Oh, there, it's just straight away the principal approach to a country house. So that is definitely right. And then if we look at parvenu, an upstart, oh, especially a vulgar. So it's a lot of help in the definitions. Now, surely I can get this now with a U here. Extremely stubborn. Oh, I don't know. Democrats snubbed public support. Public support. Oh, I don't know. Extremely stubborn. I am very adamant. I am dauntless. Dauntless. I think that's a word in the Raven. Extremely stubborn. Doubtiest. No, it's not that. Stop it, Simon. Think of... Oh, come on, you silly man. Oh, you're all shouting. I know you're all... I mean, my brain. Be in no doubt. how loudly my brain is shouting at me at the moment. And the thing is, it now refuses to actually cooperate and think about the clue, because it's just shouting, you're so stupid, all the time at itself. Extremely stubborn. I am very... What's this letter? I don't know. Democrat. And then snubbed public support. Snubbed public support. Support would be a T in golf. But I don't think this ends W-E-T. I think this means extremely stubborn, and all I have to do is think of the word. That's all I have to do. My brain just will not tell me what it is. Let's go back up here then. What were we? We were trying to think of the fish. And with all this meaning to hatch. So the answer to this one, I don't know whether the way to get this is to... I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm unsure about how... Do I think this is postern? I don't think there is a word pastern. There might be, but I don't think there's a word. And although I like sap for fool more than I like sop for fool, I know there is a word postern. I just can't quite remember what it means. I suspect this is postern. Then this is going to be S blank A blank E, and it means to hatch, I think. And if something hatches, it... And all I can think of for the fish is shad. And I know shade is a word, I just don't think it means hatch. Or does it? If you... Oh, does it mean hatch? Like from a graphical sense, if you sort of shade something, is hatch a pattern? Oh, that rings a vague bell. Oh, okay. Okay, I might go for that. I think this might be postern. And this is shade, as in, if something has a hatched pattern, I think it might be shaded. That rings the vaguest of bells. And then if that's all correct, all I've got to do now is get this 28 across thing. Extremely stubborn. Could be the extreme letters of the word stubborn. Oh, lovely. That's what it is. That's what it is. Oh, well, I think it is. No, it's not got E in it. No, it's not. Ah, bobbins. I suddenly thought... Could it be an anagram of S-T-U-O-R-N and D? And it could have been, except there's no E in that. So it's not that. Public support. Plaudits. Let's think about this. If that was an R, that's horrible, isn't it? That just doesn't look right at all. A. Doesn't look great. Oh. Have I got any of these down ones wrong? I'm extremely stubborn. Maybe this is not a word I know. That is always very, very possible with me. Public support. Snubbed public support. If you're obdurate. If you're obdurate, you're extremely stubborn. But how does that work its way through this? I am completely... Oh, this is getting annoying now. Naughty brain. I mean, this letter that the cursor's on, it has to be R, A, or U, I think. I don't think it can be D, E, can it? Well, I don't think it can. I mean, it doesn't. It's not ringing any bells when I put it in. I don't think it's I. So this is R. Extremely stubborn. So maybe this letter is a better one to focus on then. Now, okay. Having said that, I don't know. The E, F, G, Indulgent or something. Yeah, I think this might not be a word I know. Public support is, you have a level of public support. You have I don't know. This is annoying. J, K, L. Does that look right? No. M. Drum beat or something. Public support. Extremely stubborn. Don't know. N. Now I'm changing the answers, which is not a good idea. Could be N there. Very much could be. Down. P. Q. R. Oh, R I quite like as well. T. S. Let's just go through the whole panoply and think. T. Dauntless. Doubtless. Is this an N here? V, W, X, Y, Z. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I've got to work out how this works, haven't I? Extremely stubborn, I think, is what it means. If you're extremely stubborn, you are completely Democrat. Snubbed public support. Something's public, it's open, out. I have thought of putting out here, but I just don't think it looks right. I mean, it feels like Democrat, snubbed. It feels like I have to take a D out of this phrase, but I've already got one D in it, which is odd. Public support. If I've got public support, I have, I don't know, drum. You silly man. I'm sorry about this. How long? It's a longish video, isn't it? It's a very hard puzzle. It's one of the 3 hardest of the year, so I'm not totally surprised it's a long video. But oh, goodness, I really hate it when I'm left with one. Extremely stubborn. Although it's all right when you're on your own and nobody's watching, because you can just sit there and just cogitate on it, and you get it in the end. But when you're on camera, it's the most awful feeling. Extremely stubborn Democrat, snubbed public support. Is there some sort of... I have got all these down answers right. I'm sure about that. Maybe we'll take a small digression. We'll go off, because I'm happy with postern, I think, now. I want to go and... Okay. A small private door. A back door or gate. So Bay Area. Question mark. Why is that? I don't know. Let's check SOP is valid for a fool. Or was it a twit or no, an idiot? I hope it is right. So SOP, maybe it's not, you know. bread. Oh dear. No, okay, I think postern's wrong. So, oh dear, okay, that's a worry. Pastern. Any rope strap. Oh, a bay area. Oh, that's lovely. Any rope strap used to tie up a horse. A bay is a type of horse. In the bay, and so in the area of the bay, you might find a pastern, I think is what's happening there. So sap, I didn't know the word pastern, so I think it's sap for fool then. I thought sap did mean fool. Where is it? A saphead. A saphead is a fool. Okay, so that is sap. Let's check shade. Oh no, hatch is better to check hatch. Does hatch mean a shade of something? To hatch is to mark with fine lines. Is that to shade? Hatching is shading in fine lines. So shade is right. Okay, and let's just check. I think shad is a fish. Yeah, an anadromous fish. But I would have been wrong with pastern. So it might be a 2 error day. Extremely stubborn. Democrat snubbed. Drew. Public support. Shows a lot of public support. Shows a lot of. Oh, I don't know. I just don't know what this is. Let's use the little known technique in the Chambers Dictionary, which is, what on earth is that? It's found one. What's that word? Deucist, dourist, extremely dourist, maybe. Dourist, extremely stubborn. That's probably right, rather than deucist as in sweetest. So, extremely stubborn, obstinate. So dourist is the answer, which is annoying because that's a word I do know, but I don't understand why. Democrat snubbed. Public support. Oh, my phone's buzzing at me. Oh, that's I've got this. Not my phone. I've got this new watch thing. Hourist. Why is this right? Snubbed. Public support. Hourist. I don't know. What's going on? I think I've gone mad. How can I not understand this clue? Extremely stubborn Democrat snubbed public support. Extremely stubborn. Dourist. Democrat D. Snubbed public. Support is arrest. Okay. So that's the end of this clue. So snubbed. Oh no, that's outrageous. Oh my goodness, that's so difficult. I don't feel too bad. If you snub something, you don't only sort of, ignore it, but a snub nose, isn't that somebody who's got sort of a nose that's a bit flat at the end? So can snub mean to shorten? Because then out is a word for public. If something is public, it's out in the open, isn't it? So out snubbed might mean shorten the word out, take the T off the end. That's so hard. I mean, that is so hard. How are we going to check? We're going to look at snub. Oh, to cut short. I mean, it's right there, isn't it? It's just not the use of the word that I would think of. So it's totally fair. It's just much cleverer than I was. Wow, that's a seriously good puzzle. That is a seriously good puzzle. I'm glad I was not doing that under the under the speed. I think I would have got pastern wrong, and however long, whether I'd sat there long enough, I think I could have got dourist, because I do know it as a word, and eventually, if I'd thought of it, I might have sat there as I did and then understood it. But I think I would have stuck with postern, because I knew that was a word, and I wasn't sure about sop having the meaning, or not having the meaning of being a fool. And I didn't know the word pastern. So, my ignorance has been exposed again. As is so often the case in these videos, I apologise for how long I've been cogitating over those last few answers, and I would try and redeem myself by having a go at the Times Quick Cryptic and showing you that I'm not a complete imbecile. This might be a fool's errand as well, but let's get cracking on this one. Right, here we go. In which you'd find some features promoted facelift. Good start. Common queries, old message format delivered. Facts. Common queries, FAQs? I don't know. Hillary say is a term, ultimately athletic and agile. Hillary, is it Clinton? I don't know. I don't know what that is either. Rapidly approve of article with independent. Rapidly approve of, like. I don't know what that is. Goodness. Awfully close quarters. Is that's not something like, there is some weird word like foxhole or something from dull poet makes a comeback, drab, bard reversed. Irritable character, ratty, was a character in The Wind in the Willows. Still married, trapped in absurd debacle. Still. It's an anagram. Becalmed is what it is. Let's try that one. Secret cryptic. That is actually right. It'd be funny if we had cracking in the answer to this one. Terrible lot betrayal causing melee. Battle royale or something? Probably is that, I think. What's this then? Mad monk tries to divide your church. York Minster is the answer there. Southern 70s pop group backing say Blur. Southern 70s group backing. Oh, I don't know. Well, oh, this isn't Clinton. What? Hillary say? I'm sure it's a term. Question, essentially put by unconfined, picky, brief. That is quick, I think. I think this might be FAQs. I mean, facts. Yeah, I think that is right. Hillary say. Crimble, ultimately athletic and limber climber. Oh, Edmund Hillary, good grief. Like the rapidly approve, rapidly, like the clappers, like something like, I don't know. Immaculate paths at last weed free. Pot hole less or something. It's not that, but it's a lot of quiet, clear swimming. A lot of. It's a parcel. That's a clever. This is a really good puzzle as well. Oh, that was the habitual fake laid into art. I don't know. Is this spotless then? Potless. My brain was on the right track there. Republic that crosses the line. Eritrea, Ecuador, Equator. Oh. I don't know. I think it's Equator or Ecuador. Shy boy meets retiring girl. Timid. Unemployed. Idle, surely. Yeah. Homophone. Die having secured #1 in record contract. Don't know. Shed. Blue azure. Yeah. Habitual fake laid into art. That's an anagram. Habitual, traditional. Let's try that one. Turnover cover on novel Catch-22 dilemma. What's that then? Smidge? Smudge? Blur, smudge. Ah! Why? Why is this right? Backings. S. Southern Mud? Was that a mod? Smudge? 70s pop group. Was that Mud? Oh, D. I don't know that. Smidge? Blur. Smudge? Mad? Med? Mid, mod, mud. Maybe Mud is a 70s pop group. I don't know them. I think Blur for Smudge is the most... I don't think it's Smidge, but I'm not sure. Is this? That's outrageous. I think that's part of a ship. It's got an apostrophe in it, if I remember rightly. Savage punch with force rather than power. Savage. Wild, I don't know. Die. Having secured #1 in record. Contract. Oh, contract is a shortage or something. Die. Wow, I don't know. So equator, like the, what's this one? Rapidly approve of article. Approve of, like, article the, with independent. Rapidly, like the wind. W-I-N-D. Okay, so Ecuador. Savage. Savage with force rather than power. Feral or fiery or fierce. Fierce. Punches to pierce. Yeah, okay. Wow. This is hard. Decrease, contract. And that's decease with R in it. I will go for that. I am not sure. There was... Foxel is outrageous in the quick cryptic. Oh, no. Oh, I've mistyped. Oh, oh, no. I mistyped 2. I said Azure. You heard me all say it. I said Ecuador. I've mistyped it. I thought of equator and then didn't change it. Oh, dear, oh, dear. That's a disaster. And I will show you why that's a disaster. Because, look, I've now got nine errors in the month. And if this was 0, or if I've got loads of these errors are going to drop off soon. They're mostly typos. And it just kills you on the rankings. Because you go from, well, if we look at that quick cryptic, normally on the yesterday's quick cryptic I got 824 points, so I've lost nearly 300 points. And you might say, well, but 300 points over 50 puzzles is 6 points for, it's 6 points. And you do that a few times and all of a sudden you can get right up the leaderboard. Oh dear, what a disaster. It's a disaster. I'm so embarrassed. I'm cross with myself for the last one. That was typos, and I'm a bit cross with myself for the first one, but that was more ignorance, which we can excuse a little more. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I love hearing the stories about how your own cryptic crossword solving is evolving and improving. And if you do like the video, please do think about giving it a like or giving us a subscribe. It helps to teach this unfathomable puzzle, which is the YouTube algorithm. It helps to teach the algorithm that people do like cryptic crosswords. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.